Hello, friends, and thank you so much for coming to this talk. I've decided to not give a traditional seminar talk because I've given a lot of them and they're available online. So if you'd rather see one of those, I'll link some in the description. You can go and watch them, and I'd be happy to talk with you about them anytime. Instead, I've decided to do what I'm calling 3 nice proofs about periodic billiards on the regular pentagon. So as an example, here's a periodic billiard trajectory on the regular pentagon. Draw the midpoints, and then from any midpoint, go to any other midpoint, let's say this one, and then the angle of incidence equals the angle of reflection. By symmetry, you go to the next midpoint, goes across like this, and then it closes up to make a star. There's a periodic trajectory on the regular pentagon. At each bounce, the angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. And if you think about it, we could have also gone to an adjacent midpoint and we would have gotten a different 5 periodic path, which looks like this. So those are 2 easy periodic billiard trajectories on the regular pentagon. Why do we care though? Well, there's really beautiful ones. So let me give you a few examples. There's a nice one. Oh, that one's a little tough to see. Yeah, these aren't really showing up. We have ones that don't have rotational symmetry. Pretty cool. And then we have some that do have rotational symmetry, which you can see against my shirt here. So anyway, they're really beautiful periodic trajectories. They can be arbitrarily long and arbitrarily beautiful, let's just say. So here's my first short proof. Okay, here's my first result. Every periodic billiard trajectory has an even period. Now, I've drawn this picture here because you're probably thinking, Diana, not every periodic trajectory has an even period. I can see one right here with a period of 5, and you already showed me a second one. The interesting thing is that those 2, this one and the small pentagon, are the only 2 counterexamples to this. But they're the nicest way to illustrate why this is true. So here's the idea. You take a trajectory, given a trajectory, to take something that's just to the side of it. So I'm going to draw this a little bit to the right. Okay, and then I'm going to just go parallel to the given trajectory. So of course, right now, our trajectory is saying, the star is on my left. Okay, then you bounce off, and notice what happens. You're parallel, you're still the same distance apart, up to the degree of accuracy of my picture, but now you're saying the star is on my right. You come around and you say, oh, the star is on my left. And then you say, oh, the star is on my right. And then you say, oh, the star is on my left. And you get back, but you're not back where you started. So to get back where you started, you have to do it again. So this picture might be a bit messy, but let's try it. So now we've gotten back to where we started and we're going the same direction. So this thing has a period of 10, which is twice the original. And so from this you can see that every periodic trajectory, billiard trajectory, has an even period, because the idea is that every time you hit a side, you sort of change your parity. There's sort of a left-handed, right-handed business going on. So anything with 5-fold symmetry, if you get back to where you started, you're going to be at a multiple of 5. And if that's odd, then you're going to be on the wrong side, and you're going to have to do it again. And if that's even, well, then it's already even. There you go. So there's that. That is the most hand-wavy proof of these three. And but I thought it was nice to see it with this example here. Okay. We'll just have a brief interlude. I'm here on vacation visiting my parents. I have one piece of chalk, which is this piece of sidewalk chalk. I have one chalkboard. This is the slate that my mother used in her country schoolhouse. My mother grew up in Nebraska on a farm. She went to a one-room country schoolhouse. She was the only student in her grade, all 8 years of primary school. And she did all her reading, writing, and arithmetic on this slate, which is not actually slate. It's a piece of particle board, but it's doing a great job for our purposes. All right, we're back for theorem number 2. Any billiard trajectory hitting the midpoint of an edge hits it twice. So at this point, I want to acknowledge that all of this work is joint with Samuel Lelièvre at Université Paris-Saclay. And in particular, this result came out of, and this beautiful proof came out of a discussion between Samuel and Jordan Aimé, who suggested this proof. So thank you to both of them. So if you explore the beautiful library of our many beautiful periodic trajectories, you will find that any billiard trajectory hitting the midpoint of an edge, like this one, hits it twice. You can see it doing it there. So we wondered why. Why can't it just hit it once? Now, in the case of the star and the pentagon that we discussed before, you can think of it as those are sort of, you have to go around twice to finish with the right orientation. So that's how you can kind of get this result, that it hits it twice. But anything else, you can really see it hitting it twice, as you can here. So this trajectory, it goes boop, 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 and then it comes back to where it starts. This was very mysterious to us. We thought it couldn't possibly, I mean, why would it have to hit it twice? Why couldn't it just hit it once? And so Jordan Aimé gave this wonderful proof, which I will explain to you now as Samuel explained it to me. So here's the deal. You start at the midpoint of an edge and you go in some direction. Let's say we're going this direction because this is the one that's sort of like easier to see. All right. Now, by symmetry, since you started at the midpoint, you're going to have to come back to the midpoint. And angle of incidence equals angle of reflection. So the whole picture is going to have to be mirror symmetric across, this dashed line here, which I'm not going to dash because that'd be complicated. But the whole picture has to be mirror symmetric across this line. Great. So far, so good. Okay. Now the path, it starts here. It goes around for a while, and then it ends up in the same place. So at some point in between, you must have gotten to the halfway point of the path. That is like if you're measuring it with a ruler or something. Okay, so at the halfway point of the path, you cross this center line. Yep, you have to, because it's half of it is on one side and half of it on the other side in some sense, because it's mirror symmetric. Now, what are you doing when you cross this center line? If when you cross this center line, you're doing something like this, zip. When you get to the halfway point of the trajectory, well, it's the halfway point of the trajectory. It's got to do exactly the same thing again. So your trajectory is going to have to do something like that. That's not allowed. You can't just change your direction in the middle. So that can't happen. What else could you do? Well, you could hit it. You could be hitting. You could be hitting the midpoint. So if you're hitting the midpoint, then yeah, it hits it twice. Once at the beginning and once in the middle. That's pretty much what happens. The only other possibility is that you could do basically this thing, except that you are going horizontally. But here's the deal. If you're going horizontally in this picture, or in general, parallel to an edge means that you're in one of those two simple cases, either the star that we talked about or the small pentagon. That's what you get if you go parallel to an edge. So, So that's the proof. At the halfway point, pretty much, you got to be bouncing, unless you're the pentagon or the star. And that's the proof. It's very beautiful. So beautiful. Here's a question for you. Can you prove that it can't bounce there 3 times? There's a question for you. Okay, we're ready for theorem number 3. Well, not really a theorem, more of a result. Okay, you can transform any billiard trajectory into a Celtic knot. Okay, I should have said periodic billiard trajectory. But anyway, here we are. Okay, so for example, if you take the star, you can make it into a knot. There it is. What is a Celtic knot? So Celtic knots are, well, they're a form of Irish art. What I should have said is an alternating knot, but Celtic knots are all alternating. So what does that mean? It means as you travel along, you go over, under, like that forever. So I'm gonna show you. So this goes over, then it goes under, then it goes over, then it goes under, then it goes over, then it goes under, and so on. So the key is that it's alternating, and it's a knot. So if it's periodic, then it will come back to where it starts. And how do you know you can make it alternating? So I'm going to give you 2 proofs. One is sort of hand wavy, and one is a proof. So I'll just erase the statement so that we can draw a beautiful picture. Okay, so this actually, I didn't say only the pentagon. It actually holds for any billiard trajectory, and I'll show you some pictures. The way I'm going to prove it is I'm going to prove it not just for a picture of a billiard trajectory, but for any collection of lines that cuts across a shape. So you could imagine the shape being the entire plane, but for simplicity, and because it's what we care about, I'm just going to have it be this polygon here. So imagine if you take the plane and you just put some lines through it. There we go. I'll even give it valence 3. Okay, here's what we're going to use. We're going to use that any picture like this is too colorable. So that's our first result. We're going to use the fact that if you take a polygon and you draw a bunch of infinite lines across it in any way, the picture is too colorable. So here's the first proof. The first proof, so here, let me 2-color it for you. So for instance here, there. I 2-colored it, so white and black. Okay, the first proof is that anytime you divide things by lines, the valence at every vertex is even. So there's an even number of things coming out. Like here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 things coming out. Valence is even. And you can maybe convince yourself that anytime the valence is even, it's too colorable. If you like that proof, we're done. Here's a more rigorous proof. You can prove this thing by induction. So suppose that you have a picture that is already too colorable, such as this one, or such as the empty polygon. Now you take another line and you put it across. So here we go. Let's put it across. Anywhere, but maybe there. Okay. There's my new line. Now you pick one side of the line, and on that side, you just flip all the colors. And now the thing is too colorable because across any edge, now we flip the color on one side, so this part's too colorable. You can check it every part of the line. The thing is too colored, and on each side, it's a 2-coloring, because a 2-coloring when you flip the colors is still a 2-coloring, so it's too colorable. Okay. So hopefully I've convinced you that if you take a polygon and you draw a bunch of lines across it, the resulting thing is too colorable. This proof, now how this relates to the billiard trajectory, my colleague Jeff Ibbotson gave me this idea. He told me this proof. So thanks to Jeff for that. So what's the deal? Let me show you. Okay, so here's our favorite periodic billiard trajectory, this star, and I've turned it into a 2-coloring. Now, to turn this periodic billiard trajectory into a Celtic knot, all you have to do is choose a rule. So every time you see something that looks like, okay, let's have it look like this one. So it's like white on these parts and black on the other parts, depending on what your definition of white and black are for a chalkboard. That turns into a crossing. Oh, that was my best work. Okay, turns into a crossing like that. So when you see something like this, you turn it into a crossing like that. Now you can choose either convention with the crossing. If you got it the other way, you would just get the under and over would be switched over here. So if you take this picture of a two coloring, then you just replace every intersection, every vertex with, this picture. So you just rotate this appropriately and you get the crossings. And the two coloring gives you the nice Celtic knot with the alternating crossings. Beautiful. So I'll end with a few pictures of some beautiful Celtic knots that we've made. We've made a couple with the pentagon. And I've made a bunch more with the rectangular or square billiard table. And it's a very beautiful thing. It's a very beautiful activity. I've written it up as an activity in my upcoming book, published with the American Mathematical Society in the Student Mathematical Library series, which is all about billiards and has some hands-on activities at the end of the first 3 chapters, including how to turn a periodic billiard trajectory into a Celtic knot, with cords and little pieces of wood and nails and stuff. So I'll drop that in there for you to look at. And do at home. So that concludes our time together. I hope you've enjoyed these 3 little snacks of proofs. And I hope to meet you in real life someday. Or, we can just read each other's work and meet intellectually. So thank you so much, and see you at office hours, maybe.